the question is, what we paid for the boat? All right, so the last time we made a video, we were heading out towards St. Thomas after having just put our brand new mast and crossbar on our boat, and we made the overnight passage to St. Thomas and picked up a mooring and hung out there for a couple months. We got to see Justin and hang out with him, and Sylvie, had a few parties on the beach, got to see Daryl from the boatyard, and had a really good time enjoying the boat for a few months before the end of the season. But as the time went on, it started making me a little nervous because I didn't know where I was going to take the boat. And we had considered St. Kitts, but it seemed to be a little bit too difficult to get to St. Kitts from the COVID perspective. So the easiest thing for us was to just head back to Antigua and put the boat up there. So found a weather window and kind of made plans to do that. Brandon was kind of wanting to head back to home because he had been with us for almost 4 months. And so he bought a ticket to head back home. And we went to the fuel dock, filled up with fuel and water, said goodbye to Brandon and Justin. Justin went back to his boat and Brandon jumped on a plane. And we headed off for our night crossing back to St. Martin, where we stayed there for a night and then made another night crossing over to Antigua. But we arrived in the morning, checked back into the country, hung out there for a few weeks, did some odds and ends on the boat, saw our friends from the boatyard. They were all there putting their boats back on the hard also. Everybody was just waiting on their time to haul out and head home. So we did the same thing. We hauled our boat back out in North Sound Marina and did a few more things, de-prepped the boat for hurricane season, strapped it down, and took off. But, over the time, not that a whole bunch of people contact me, and not that my channel is that big at all. I do this because I enjoy doing it. But the people that do contact me seems to be more often than not, everybody wants to know what I paid for the boat and what I paid for the mast, and also what I paid for the repairs. But I'm going to start with the fiberglass cost, the fiberglass repair cost. The guys that did it, I just kind of stumbled into them while I was down there looking at boats, and they gave me an estimate. And then as soon as I bought it, I had them start working on it. But they're all in cost for all of my fiberglass repair, gel coat, polish, turnkey on the fiberglass repair cost for my boat was $34,000. So the 57-foot Z-Spar mast in 2 pieces was $10,508. The standing rigging, brand new, everything on the standing rigging, turnbuckles, every piece of standing rigging on the boat was replaced, and it was $5,721. The crossbeam, which included the tensioner cable, was $4,662. The track and cars, I opted for the Z-Spar because of cost. And even though the Antel would have been way better, it was 3 times as much. So all the cost on the track and cars for my boat was $1,485. And I have a miscellaneous stack because it's just the miscellaneous stuff. It's just the mast based was $450. The boom vane was $250. The running rigging, I had an allotment of around $2,500, and the boom repair. The only thing I had left on my boat that was usable was the boom that made it with the boat. But the gooseneck was jacked up, so when FKG went to go put it on, they were like, man, your gooseneck is jacked. They charged me $660 for that. All the miscellaneous includes that little stack, and that was $3,357. But in addition to those items, I really didn't need a furler, but I needed all the foils that went with the furler. In Antigua, somebody had listed it on the Antigua Cruisers Forum that they had an LC42 Pro Furler, which has the exact same foils that I have, and he only wanted $800 for it. And so as fast as he could text me back and tell me he was available, I was down there getting his Pro Furler 420, plus he had 10 foils to go with it. So it was huge. So I have foils left over, and it was only $800. The package and shipping from France to St. Martin, we got a hell of a deal. The total was $1,550, which I thought was a steal. The labor that FKG charged to do all of this work, they charged $3,659. So grand total for the mast and everything that that entails was $31,742. Where I'm at right now with the repair cost is $34,000 for the fiberglass, $31,742 for the mast and crossbar, and then everything else that we shipped down there. I can't itemize it because we had papers and papers and papers that we documented to get this stuff cleared into Antigua. And the first one of the crates we valued at $8,000. The second crate we sent was valued at $10,000. And the third pallet that we sent was $2,000. So I added up all that cost and the shipping cost that it took to get it from Texas to Antigua, and it came up with $24,000 for the total cost of all the stuff that we sent down to fix the boat. And it wasn't everything, but it was about 90% of everything that we needed. The rest of the items came from Antigua, the budget Marines there, and some labor that we paid for to work on the boat while we were there. So that ended up being $6,500. So grand total for all the repairs is $96,242. So I feel, even though $96,000 is a shit ton of money, especially for us, it's a shit ton of money, you have to kind of take into consideration what you paid for the boat. If we had paid too much for the boat, that $96,000 would have been too much. The question is, what we paid for the boat? And that's what everybody wants to know, is what we paid for the boat. But for this 2013 Leopard 44 that had not been sunk, I'll get to that in a second, we got it for $52,500. Was the winning bid, and we were happy to pay it. But in addition to that money, you have a 6% buyer's premium of $3,150. There's a dock fee of $125. Title transfer was $590. So a grand total to get that boat in my name was $56,365. All right, so for a grand total, we have the $96,242 in repairs, $56,365 for the boat, and that comes to a grand total of $152,607. And the other thing is, I knew it hadn't sunk, but I really, I didn't know how the back starboard damage had happened. And then whenever I was watching one of Parlay Revival's videos, they were doing one of the earlier videos when they were talking about buying the Hurricane boat. There was a flyby of right after the BVIs, right after Irma came through there, and the damage of all the boats that were in the water. And I could have swore one of those boats looked just like mine, because every time I saw any of that footage, I looked for my boat, and I think I found it. So I stopped it, and I actually went back to old pictures of my boat and looked at the window damage, and I finally figured out how the back of my boat got damaged, and it's because this damn monohull was sitting on top of it, at least for some of the time. And the mast leaning over is exactly the way my furler was laid over. And the only thing that breaks my heart is my boat didn't make it to Antigua and to me with its mast. And I can tell in that picture that the mast was intact, but it ends up probably on somebody else's boat at this point. But it was kind of cool to see that, because I knew it answered all of the questions that I had about what had happened to my boat and what it looked like after the hurricane. So it's kind of cool to see. And as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty much done. It's, I have the two air conditioners that were stolen while the boat sat at auction. I haven't replaced because I haven't figured out a need. For them. You only need them when you go to a marina, and we didn't spend any time in a marina while we were out there, and I don't really plan to spend any time in a marina. So it's kind of hard to swallow that cost to replace those. So I don't know if I really will. And the other thing is I still have to buy is not really. I didn't get a mainsail. And, you know, new ones are $5,000 to $7,000. And if I had to, I guess I would start looking that way. But I did come across a guy that was selling his for $500, and it's not going to quite fit perfectly. And I don't even have it up. I bought it right at the end of the season, right before we pulled the boat out of the water to store it. So we're going to see how that fits when we go back. Hopefully I can get a couple years out of it and put that cost off for a couple years. But, you know, for the most part, I consider this boat done. I've got all the material now to do the stack pack. What this price represents is what it took to get that boat from where it was to where it is now. It's actually less money than what I sold my old boat for. So I kind of feel like if I was able to stay underneath that cost, I feel like I did a good job, you know, because I love the boat. And so I feel like for a 2013 Leopard 44 to be an all-in at, you know, about $150,000, you really can't complain about that. So you're welcome to leave comments to tell me what you guys think I did as far as the cost goes. And, you know, this is just a little YouTube channel, but any like that I get is appreciated. And any comment that I get is always fun to read. But until next time, we'll try to keep filming stuff. Later.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Now we see where the enthusiasm is. You're a cruel individual.
Sharing it.
One of those little kid songs or something, you know, that Barney or something. SpongeBob.
Sound right, boy. Get it, Dustin.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
It sound right, boys.
So I added up all those, and that was basically everything it took me to dipshit. You have terrible timing.
You didn't say anything.
Now you done lost my train of thought. No, this hat's cool.
That's the hat that I bought you. You said cheaper.
Now I don't even know where I was. What was I talking about? Y'all turned, so now y'all just stumbling around the house drunk?
That was like 3 hours ago.
Shit.
I took a nap since then.
Mm-hmm.